Well, this is it. I'm Matt.
I'm Pat.
This is the Matt and Pat Show.
You said it, buddy.
Brought to you by no one but Kathy Cornett. She's the only one who listen. Our supreme leader.
This is all because of her.
Pastor Kathy Cornett, who is actually the youth director at Crosswalk Community Church.
Because,
what? You know, that's what she does.
She does.
She's taking names and kicking butts for Jesus.
She is leading young minds the way they should go.
She's molding them, just she did, a Jell-O.
She's a potter.
She's a potter. That's right.
She is molding clay.
And we'll contact her later.
We will, hopefully. Hopefully she will take our call.
Yeah. Normally she hangs up, but maybe this time. I forewarned her we might call her, which is like a 90% chance she'll hang up. So
we'll see.
This is the Matt and Pat Show. It is February 4th. And what day is tomorrow?
Tomorrow is February 5th.
Oh, yes, it is February 5th. And I heard something about this thing called Super Bowl.
It's also the Super Bowl, yes.
I have a Super Bowl in my cupboard, and I use it for cereal, and it holds like 3 gallons of milk. That
is way too much milk.
That's what I consider Super Bowl.
Nobody ever in their entire life should consume that much milk at one sitting.
So this is going to be a monthly thing. We are recording in February to talk about what happened in January.
The easiest way to remember that is like centuries. So the 19th century is the 1800s.
There you go.
I don't know why they don't just call it the 18th century, but that's just how it is. So February, we will be talking about January.
Yeah, we're going to talk about January and how the fact that there was no sun in January.
There was no sun in January.
We had 2 days of sunshine according to the Detroit Free Press. And the Groundhog came out and just, 2 days ago?
Groundhog, yeah.
Which, by the way, is a great movie, Groundhog's Day.
It is. It was on a marathon, actually, on AMC.
Was it again?
It's a great movie.
It's awesome.
But Groundhog.
Yes.
The gopher's less important cousin.
Right.
Because everybody loves gophers, right?
Yeah.
Because they've got them huge teeth and they're chopping down trees.
And they're easy targets on the golf greens.
Well, that's a groundhog. I don't think there's any gophers on golf courses. I don't know. We got to golf again.
We'll need to go golfing, yes.
Yeah. Anyways, groundhogs. So they have this huge thing, right, in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania?
They do.
And
they ripped this large rodent out of a box.
Everybody knows if he sees a shadow, I actually forget. Not everybody knows. I forgot. If he sees a shadow, it's more winter or
6 months more of winter.
6 weeks more?
6 weeks, 6 more weeks of winter. If he sees a shadow. If it's cloudy, we have spring coming around, which doesn't make any sense to me.
That doesn't make sense either because I feel like it's always cloudy in the wintertime, which, like you said, we had 2 stinking days of sun. 2
days
in a whole month. That's just depressing. I feel like it should be like vampires are coming out. This is
why I thought my house was haunted, and because there was people over, and we had a little get together, and there's people here, and they're white as ghosts, man.
Yeah,
vitamin D is.
Isn't there like a actual like disorder from like no sunlight?
Yeah,
like you get depressed.
It's called Michiganderianism.
Yeah.
So there's actually a Facebook protest going on right now.
Really?
About the groundhog and how they hate the groundhog, and it's #NotMyGroundhog.
So they want a different groundhog, or they don't want any groundhog at all?
I think it's just a mock protest because they're tired of all the politics going on. So they just decided to come up with this big Facebook protest that the groundhog has foreseen 6 more weeks of winter. So they're saying it's not my groundhog, which that's fine with me because he's not my groundhog either. Because I don't live in Pennsylvania, or wherever the heck it is. Punxsutawney.
Be nice to the Punxsutawneyans. Yeah.
Oh,
but
boy.
It's funny you say that because if the groundhog didn't see a shadow and spring was around the corner, it would be #this is my favorite groundhog instead of this is not my groundhog.
Right. So there would be a love a thing going on Facebook for the groundhog. Now we got, oh, well.
So you moved into this house that we're in right now. You recently moved into it. Have you had a groundhog problem here?
I have not had a groundhog problem here, though we are underground right now, so we could technically be groundhogs.
There could be one like
we're in our basement, my basement.
That's true. Did you have any problems at your old house? I know you had more.
Yes, I didn't have any problems with groundhogs, but those moles.
Oh, now I said a groundhog is a gopher's less important cousin. A mole is a groundhog's more retarded cousin.
Side note: I've actually witnessed my father-in-law dig one of those things out of the ground. And he came out and showed it to me. It was on the end of the show. He's like, "Hey, look at this." And I'm like, "Oh, I've never seen one of those before." Then he puts it on the ground and then whacks it with the shovel. And I'm like, I was just like, I didn't expect that.
It's a little traumatizing. Like I feel like your father-in-law, Matt, from what you told me about him, is the type of guy that would be out in the woods, fall from a tree, break his leg in 2, but get his butt up and hop home, go in the kitchen, make a sandwich, and sit down and watch TV, and you'd be like, "What's the big deal?" So what? I broke a leg
Yeah.
walking off.
Speaking of manliness, I hear that you have some sports news.
I do. So remember what we said earlier? What's the big thing tomorrow?
It's apparently you told me it's the thing called a Super
It's
Bowl.
the Super Bowl.
I have no clue what this is because I'm not a sports guy, which is not something that most guys say.
What did you do last year for the Super Bowl? Because this is a yearly thing, you know.
What I do last year for the Super Bowl?
Yeah. What did you do last year for the Super Bowl?
Probably listen to people make fun of me for not going to a Super. Didn't know that I wasn't invited to a Super
Did
Bowl
you
party.
watch the game
No.
last year?
No,
you
I
know
didn't.
who was in the game last year?
Some people probably playing some football. I don't know who was in the game at all this year.
Well, it doesn't matter because neither of them made the playoffs this year. So, anyways, Super Bowl tomorrow. Patriots and Falcons. The Patriots are going for their 7th Super Bowl in franchise history. It's their 7th or 9th appearance. I can't remember. But the big thing is Tom Brady's going for his 5th Super Bowl win, which would be most all time. Right now he has 4. He's tied with 2 other quarterbacks, Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw.
I know who Tom Brady is. He was on my box of cereal this morning on my Wheaties.
That's how you know who Tom Brady is. Tom Brady, who went to the University of Michigan. It's because you're a state fan, isn't it?
Yes, I
You
am.
lean towards the state. You're not a sports fan, so you just go whichever way your friends tell you to go. And I feel like you have more state friends than you do.
I do have more state friends.
I am lacking.
Of course, I also went to state for a little bit there, so I have a little bit of...
You never told me that.
That's how me and Becky met.
Really?
Yeah.
That, my friend,
A mutual friend that went
It's
to
a story
state.
for another day.
That is for another story.
But
Day for another
basically,
story.
so, okay, Tom Brady's tied with 2 other quarterbacks, Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw. So nobody's ready to commit to the GOAT status for Tom Brady.
GOAT status.
GOAT status. Do you know what GOAT stands for? Greatest of all time.
Oh,
It's one fun little acronyms we like.
there you go.
Nobody's ready to commit to him because he's still tied, and they're still like, well, Joe Montana was better, yada, whatever. If he wins a 5th one, which is more than anybody, now there's various other reasons why I think he's already greatest of all time, but I don't even know how you could commit to that because all the old timers, all the traditionalists are always like, you got to win the most titles, and he would. I don't understand how you could argue against it, but the problem is they're playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have the best offense in the league this year. I think they had like the 5th best of all time.
Now, I know who the Atlanta Falcons are.
You do. Do you know what a
Yes.
falcon is?
It is a bird of prey.
And you know where Atlanta is, right?
It is somewhere down south in that godforsaken place down there.
It's
next to Florida.
It's in Georgia.
It's in Georgia?
It's actually the capital of Georgia.
I knew that.
Yes.
Did not.
It's
Did
also
not.
one of the biggest airports in the country.
We actually had a guy named Brian Pruitt who used to play for the
Oh,
Atlanta
yeah.
Falcons, and he is from Saginaw, Michigan. He's a pretty good Christian guy. And
He is. Shout out to Brian Pruitt.
Shout out to Brian Pruitt. He's a spiritual leader.
He is. And he was a running back, wasn't he?
Yes.
Why am I asking you? Do you know what a running back is?
No, but I know that's what he was.
Okay.
I don't know what he did.
So he used to run over people for a living.
Oh, okay.
Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you,
You're going to ask me something.
based solely off what you already know
Okay.
about the New England Patriots
Mhm.
and the Atlanta Falcons,
Uh-huh.
who you got? Who's going to win?
Who do I think is going to win?
Yeah.
Probably someone playing football.
Of the two.
I would have to bet that if they're going for their 7th Super Bowl,
Well, I can't remember about that, but Tom Brady's going for his 5th, and Bill Belichick's going for his 5th. He's the coach.
I'm thinking it's going to be a really good game, and I'm probably I'm going to put my money on the Atlanta Falcons.
Really?
Yes.
They are. See, it's so hard because the Patriots are a 3-point favorite, but it's only 3 points, so it's really anybody's game.
Points don't mean nothing, man.
Points don't mean nothing, man. How many points, Matthew, is a touchdown worth?
7,
Close.
6, and then
There you go.
they get actually.
Yes.
See,
I'm so proud of you.
I'm learning. I'm learning.
I'm so proud of you.
And they only get 1 measly point for kicking it between 2 field goal or the post.
Great. Hey,
Yes.
you got to give them kickers something for, being, I don't know. But what are you doing for the Super Bowl this year?
Nothing.
You're not doing anything.
I'm going tomorrow to put insulation at Becky's aunt's house. That's what I'm doing for
Well, the
Super Bowl
game's not
Sunday.
until 6:30.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You're not even going to watch the commercials or the halftime show?
I think I will probably watch the commercials because, it's insane the amount of money they put into the commercials.
Oh,
In fact, I have some information here.
you do? I love when you have information.
Information about Super Bowl commercials. To put it in the respective format of what a Super Bowl commercial normally costs versus a normal commercial. A commercial for the Emmys cost about $1.5 million. Can you take a gander what a 30-second spot at the Super Bowl.
Boy.
That Fox is charging for 30 seconds for the
That's
Super Bowl.
That's right. They have it this year.
Yes, they do.
I would say you said $1.5.
$1.5 million. $1 to $1.5 million for a 30-second spot for the Oscars or Emmys.
For the Oscars or Emmys, I would say $3.5 for the Super Bowl.
How about $5.5 million?
Oh my goodness!
Isn't that insane?
That's why it's the last 3 years. It's been Bud Light every year. It's because they got. I mean, who has that kind of money to dish out on a 30-second commercial?
Well, apparently Bud Light, or I'm telling you, it's an insane marketing scheme. That's what I'm thinking of, and that's what I want to do. I want to watch the Super Bowl, and for every commercial, I'm going to count 5.5 million and see how many more millions of dollars Fox has by the time the end of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
because they're expected 110 million viewers.
That's a lot of viewers. It's probably going to be one of the highest rated,
and Matt won't be one of them. And Patrick will.
Yes, I will watch it. It's going to be awesome. I want the Patriots to win because I want Tom Brady to win because I'm a U of M fan. And Tom Brady is the greatest.
I can root for U of M. I root for U of M until they play the Sparties, and then when they play the Sparties, they can just die.
I think we can agree to disagree that at least we're not Buckeye fans.
Oh,
those
yes.
are the worst.
I'm sorry. Anyone who is listening from Ohio, just turn us off. We don't need the.
I hear Miami of Ohio is good.
Miami of Ohio.
That's another university.
Yeah.
Are you going to watch the halftime show? Do you know who's playing at halftime?
Lady Gaga.
Lady Goo Goo Gaga.
Lady Goo Goo Gaga. So she's going to get all her little monsters going on.
I guess
someone on Facebook was saying that she's going to use it as a political rant. I hope not.
The NFL. I watched SportsCenter this morning. The NFL specifically asked her not to do anything political. Now, whether she listens or not, I mean, what are you going to do if she does something?
That's probably why they didn't ask Madonna.
Oh,
and the fact that she would need a walker to get on stage.
I was about to say, she's pushing 80. She is also from Michigan. Did you know that?
She is from Michigan.
Saginaw too.
I think
Saginaw.
A lot of people from Saginaw.
Wow.
So I got some crazy news that happened in January. Did you guys hear about this bobcat? It's a bobcat that escaped from the Smithsonian Zoo. Right?
Smithsonian Zoo. I didn't even know the Smithsonian had a zoo.
Me either.
That's in D.C., right?
Yes.
Bobcat.
So a 7-year-old bobcat named Ollie was found Wednesday at 4 p.m. after he was spotted near the zoo's birdhouse. So this bobcat went missing, named Ollie.
Ollie.
Which, okay, if you don't know what a bobcat is, it's about this little bigger than a chihuahua.
Oh.
It's not a big mountain lion.
If there's one thing I know, it's animals. I know what a bobcat is.
And
now, the difference between a bobcat and a lynx, I couldn't tell you otherwise.
No.
Bobcat. Now, the big question I think we need to be asking is, one, why is his name Ollie?
I'm not. You know what? We'll get him on the phone and see.
All right.
So the official said that during a news concert that he went missing sometime on Monday.
Okay.
And so people freaked out. They closed schools. They closed daycares because they were afraid this thing was going to attack and eat people. And
it's a bobcat.
It's a bobcat. Officials at the zoo said they found it near the zoo's birdhouse, which is their aviary. So they set up some live traps, and they have video of it actually trying to play. It was literally just playing around,
right, with
around
the birds.
The aviary.
It's a bobcat, right? So it's a cat.
Yes.
So it's very vicious and mean.
Yes.
It has no kind feelings whatsoever.
At least towards a bird.
Right. What's funny, I think, is they shut down the whole city, you said, or something, because of this bobcat. He didn't even leave the zoo. He's just like, screw you guys. I'm going to go by the bird.
You just look for... Oh, it's crazy. I don't get it. So anyways, he is safe and sound. Zoo officials say they're thrilled to have Ollie back in safekeeping. And she wanted to go out and have a little bit of fun and see what it's like on the outside. And she came back to the trap. And the most important thing is she did not harm any birds.
She didn't harm any birds.
Didn't harm any birds.
Cats are really mean, right?
I have 2 of them. And
I was just going to say, you have 2 cats. One
is a dog.
Is a dog.
He could sit on command.
Right. Orwell, right?
His name's Orwell.
I like Weezer, if I was being honest.
You do?
I do. He's kind of like my, Island in the Sun or something like that. He's a little humdinger for you.
All
Anyways, what I was going to say, you said he was 7, right? So cat years, what is that, like 40-something?
Something like that.
So you have almost a 50-year-old bobcat, which, as we've discussed, is, probably not bigger than Weezer up there.
Right.
Because he's pretty big.
Just a tad bigger. He's about the size of a large household cat.
Large household cat. And they shut down the city.
They shut down the schools, the elementary schools, and the daycares.
Oh, protect the children, please.
Because this thing is going to come ramping wild and gnaw off some kid's leg.
You know what the Bobcat's going to do? He's going to find the most expensive piece of art in the city and pee on it because he's a cat. That's what he's going to do.
Or he's going to like tear his claws into something. Just sharpen his claws. Or, do what he just did. Just hit around the zoo and went for a daily stroll to the bird aviary. You have some movies that you have seen recently?
Yes, I do.
What have you seen recently?
So for some reason, I've seen 2 Ryan Gosling movies in like a week. Right?
Okay.
And I know I told you this.
Do you have a secret crush for Ryan Gosling?
No, I don't actually. I've never seen like any Ryan Gosling movies except like these past 2, I think. Well, I saw him. Did you ever see Remember the Titans?
I did see. Yes.
Yeah, he was really young.
If you were brought up through our youth group and Dale Hayford was your youth pastor,
yeah, I was not.
You saw Remember the Titans.
Well, there you go.
Because it's like that's what his go-to.
That's his favorite movie.
That was his favorite movie.
Even though there's like not a mention of Jesus or God or anything.
I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it's a good movie. It's all about tolerance.
Yep.
That's a good movie. You tolerate one guy because he's black, another guy because he's fat, another guy because he's likes other guys, stuff like that. So, I told you this earlier, but I'm going to repeat this because I'm really passionate about this. All right. So the first Ryan Gosling movie I saw, I went with my wife. We went to the theaters and we saw La La Land. Right.
Ooh, now that's supposed to be up for how many Academy Awards?
Okay, so it won like a bajillion Golden Globes, right? It won like everything it was nominated for, like 70, right? I think it was like 7, but I think now my wife told me that it was like a musical, which I'm okay. I actually don't mind musicals. I think they're kind of cool. I saw, Zootopia recently. That was really good. I watched it because I like animals, and I just think it's cool animals act like people. I don't know. I think that's funny. Should we do spoiler alert? Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
alert.
All right. So we do this thing where Ryan Gosling is this jazz musician. Now, if you did not know this, Ryan Gosling is white, and he is this traditionalist jazz musician. And apparently some people were mad about this because he's trying to save traditional jazz, but he's a white guy. It's predominantly an African-American type of music.
You don't say.
Yeah. Believe it or not. Anyways, so he's a jazz musician. He's a big traditionalist. He wants to start his own jazz club, right? But he's not doing very well. He's really poor. And Emma Stone is an aspiring actress, but she's not doing well either because all these auditions, I guess it's really hard to be an actress, blah, 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 whatever. Pay attention to me because I'm famous. Anyways, well, that's all the kids want to be nowadays, right? They want to be artsy-fartsy. They want to be...
the millennials.
We can say that because we're millennials.
Yes. Because we're entitled to.
They want to be... Oh, that was a good one.
I stole your joke.
You did. It's okay. You can steal it. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, it's like off and on. They keep running into each other, and then eventually they fall in love, and they're like together, yada, whatever, but they have no money because they don't have a job. Well, she's like a barista at a coffee store.
So they're millennials.
Sure. You like coffee, right? Do baristas, is that like a legit job? Like
I think if you lived in like Washington State where Starbucks was, first founded.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to make money in Monroe being a barista. Anyways,
so they're living together, but he overhears a conversation with her mom, where the mom's asking mom like questions like, how are you paying for all this? Where's your money? Where's your source of income? Yada yada. And she's all like, well, he's working towards it. He's trying. The movie's all about pursuing your dream, basically. Mm-hmm. Right. So he overhears this, so he feels bad. So he talks to a friend of his who has this band that needs a piano player. He's really good at the piano, jazz pianist. And
we'll have to edit that out, but go ahead.
And then, so he joins this band, but he's gone all the time because they're touring, yada, yada, whatever. So she misses him, yada, yada, whatever. And he comes home for one night, makes her dinner, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But obviously, because it's Hollywood, it leads to an argument for some reason because of a miscommunication. So she leaves, and then they're like separated. She goes back home to her parents' house. He goes all the way there to tell her that she got a call back for an audition. They want her to do her own show, but it's in Paris, and they're in L.A. So they're going to be like, oh no, what do we do? So they're sitting on this park bench, right, and they're talking about their future. And he says, I kid you not, you should go because it's your dream. Paris is really nice. And then he pauses and he's like, they have really good jazz there. Now remember, he's a jazz traditionalist. He wants to start his own club. That's his dream, like hers is being an actress. Sure. He says, you should go to Paris. They have really good jazz there. So she ends up going to Paris. They're done relationship-wise. It fast forwards 5 years. She's married to another guy, and they have their own kid, and they go out on a date one night, and they come to the jazz club, and it's the one he owns. So they both got their dream, and she sees him, and he sees her, and he's all like, ugh. And she's all like, ugh. It's just that Hollywood, like, oh my goodness, you're a famous actress in L.A. I don't think I ever would have saw you. So then they stare at each other. He plays this romantic tune, and in her mind, you see she's imagining like if her life had been different, they'd stay together, and they had been they had been married and had a kid and yada whatever. So then it comes back, and the husband's like, "Do you want to stay for the rest of the show?" And she's like, "No, I'll just leave." So then she's leaving. She turns around, she looks, and he gives her like a affirmation type nod, like, "Yeah, like it's okay how things worked out." And she smiles and seems happy with whatever that was going on, and then she leaves and then the movie ends, right? Now, I don't know if my worldview has kind of ruined my innocent type viewing of these type of things, but all I got from that movie was just like, why the heck didn't you just go to Paris with her? He's just like, they have really good jazz in Paris. Go with her! It's like, go with her, play jazz, whatever, start your own club in Paris while she's doing her gig. You end up together, and it's basically, Matt, what this movie is teaching is you follow your dream, and your dream of a career or type dream
entitled to
is more important than people. See, me, I'm weird. When I told my wife that I love her and I want to spend my life with her, because he says that in the movie, I'll always love you. That's what he says to her. When I told my wife that, her dreams became my dreams, and we became, like our dreams came together, and it became our dreams, right?
Yep.
It changes. Well, this movie is like, nope.
Can't have that.
All that matters is you follow your dream. Now, basically, even if you fall in love and you could see yourself spending the rest of your life with this person, that doesn't matter because unless it lines up with your dream's more important. So a job, a thing, an object is more important than the people, basically. And that's what fumes me. So on my rating list,
what's the Patrick rating of approval?
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Now, nobody got punched in this movie, so it's automatically at least down to a 5.
Okay.
Now, I would say probably at least a 5. Because, okay, it's good acting, it's good story. I mean, obviously, it has to be good because they got nominated for all this stuff, even though that's mostly just about money anyways. But to me, I didn't get the point. I didn't get the point. It's just like, to me, it's just like, why wouldn't you just go with her? Why wouldn't you why isn't being with her more important than opening your own club, which you could have done in Paris if you just went with her? I'm telling you.
It's okay. Are you okay? Just breathe in.
The second Ryan Gosling movie I saw, called The Nice Guys, is a comedy with Russell Crowe.
That was great.
That's a funny movie.
That is a funny movie.
So that made me feel better because Ryan Gosling actually is a funny guy when he plays comedy.
I can't wait till they come out with the second one. Like instantly when I saw
I
them,
hope
like,
they do.
When are they going to come out with the second one? Because they need to.
So to feel better, man, I need you to tell me about a movie that you saw, so I can feel better.
Well, the movie I saw recently was actually last night.
Oh boy.
And it had rave reviews. It was Miss Pettigrews' Home for Peculiar Children.
All right, that already is just a ridiculously long title.
That's what I thought. It's a Tim Burton film.
Not to mention the fact you picked the one bird with the hardest to pronounce name I've ever heard of. Peregrine. I don't know. Apparently, it was a 2-parter book. You know what's better? Mrs. Turtledove's House of Whatever.
How about Mary Poppins? Done.
Sure. Anyways, sorry.
So we watched this movie last night, and we were at a friend's house, and we have to pick a movie, and we just had 3 movies, one with Jason Statham, and this one.
Wait. Stop right there. You did not watch a movie with Jason Statham in it, the king, the undisputed king of making bad movies watchable and enjoyable, to watch Mrs. Pelican's whatever house of yada yada. What Jason Statham movie was it?
It was like something of The Mechanic.
Oh my goodness! You didn't watch Jason Statham beat up people and do a Jason Statham.
All I know is
things.
On the Blu-ray cover, he was hanging from underneath a pool or something like that.
And what part of that
gun.
does not make you want to watch?
Listen, this is what happened. They had 3 movies there, and they were like, just pick a number 1 through 3, and we're like 2. Boom. Mrs. Pettigrews' Home for Peculiar Children.
You got to see the options, buddy. This is America. You have a free choice.
I had the options. I had a multiple choice.
What was the other one?
I don't even know. It was because
the conversation begins and ends.
I
with
wanted
Jason
to see the Jason Statham movie. Anyway, so we saw this movie.
All right.
It's supposed to be. It's got like a 71 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is apparently really good.
That's not bad. Yeah,
it's a 2-parter, or not a 2-parter movie, but it was a 2-parter book. I never heard of this movie. Apparently, it came out sometime in 2006.
71 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Or 2016.
The internet's go-to Wikipedia.
You're right.
For movies.
For movies.
All right.
And so we watched this movie, and I feel like, okay, it's a 2-parter book. It's 2 book sets, and they have it crammed into one movie.
Have you read the books?
I have not.
Okay.
I had no clue. But that was the thing. I've never read the books, and I could tell They were just cramming all kinds of stuff in this movie. It had Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Well, what doesn't have Samuel L. Jackson in it?
Well, any movie doesn't have a plane and snakes. That's, But anyway, so we watched this movie, and it feels like it's the storyline's great. It sounds like it would be an awesome book, but a movie, it just sucked. It was a terrible movie.
Terrible movie.
And I remember, like, it got to the end, there's this battle scene and stuff, and you're like, well, that's pretty cool, but it was horrible graphics. It was the worst Tim Burton movie I have ever seen. And the only thing it didn't have, it didn't have Johnny Depp in it, and it didn't have Helena Bonham Carter in it.
That's actually a surprise.
Which
they do like every movie together.
Those two are in every Tim Burton movie. No.
Well, give me the cast. Who's in this? Samuel Jackson.
You know what? Let's see.
Who's the star?
The star is
who's Miss Peregrine?
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I can't even say it.
Exactly. What part of that says people watch this movie?
Eva Green as Miss Peregrine.
Eva Green. Okay.
It's got Asia Butterfield as Jake. That's like the main cast. It's pretty much a cast of a little bit of Nova. It's got Rupert Everett.
I've seen Eva Green. I saw her in Casino Royale. That was a good movie.
That's pretty much the only. And then it's got she
was in that other 300 movie.
It does have Chris O'Dowd in it. Do you know who that is?
I do not. Who is that?
He is an Irish actor.
Okay.
And he has a real thick Irish voice, and he has an American voice, and it's terrible.
Oh, really?
Terrible American
accent. He's like Sean Connery?
Yeah, it's like trying to have Sean Connery speak straight.
Right.
It's not going to happen. And then, I don't know, it's got a bunch of other people in it, but it was surprisingly bad. If I had to give it a scale, it'd be like a 2 out of 10.
Wow.
And sometimes I give movies a second chance, but I don't think I'll ever watch.
And it got 71 on Rotten Tomatoes?
71 on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's supposed to be a good movie, but
what's it about?
It's okay.
House of Peculiar Children.
Spoiler.
That doesn't sound too good.
So
spoiler.
Miss Peregrine is some sort of, and I forget the name. So don't send us hate mail. But she's some sort of woman who could turn into a bird.
Ooh.
And she creates this time loop on September 3rd, 1943.
September 3rd, 1943. Hang on. 43 is World War II.
We're talking some time ago.
Okay.
So the movie starts off with this Jake and his grandfather. And his grandfather is always filling Jake up with these elaborate stories about how he was, catching monsters and destroying monsters and watching
So he's
people.
lying to his children.
Apparently.
Like any good grandfather does.
Of course. Making up stories. Yeah, of course.
I can't wait till I get to do that.
So Miss Peregrine's this lady who can turn into a bird and stop and freeze time and rewind it. Right. And so she's got these children with all these weird, peculiarities.
Peculiar
magic powers.
This is already frustrating. You haven't even told me the movie yet.
So there's like this kid who can have bees come out of his mouth. This girl's got like a huge serrated shark mouth in the back of her head. It's just a terrible movie.
This just screams Tim Burton.
And there's these twins who never take off their mask until the very end. They can make anything turn into stone, which would have been great if they just opened their mask say an hour and 30 minutes into or back into the movie. They would have saved. There's just so many odd loopholes,
right?
And everyone we watched last, that's a great movie. I'm like,
and you're just like, you guys are
this
crazy.
Sucked. It was a horrible movie.
The title alone throws me off.
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children gets a 2 out of the Matt and Pat scale.
Wow, that's worse than my 5 for La La Land. I think the moral of this story is you owe Jason Statham an apology.
I do, and I'm sorry, Jason, if you're listening.
Oi!
First of all, thanks. Wow, he's here. And if you're not listening, which is pretty much the case, you never will ever hear about who we are on the Matt Pat Show, that's okay. I will watch his movie because I thought he was awesome in what
movie isn't he awesome in?
Well,
Transporter
was awesome.
Off.
It was the movie I first saw him in was like he was given the serum where he was going to die and he had to keep his
Crank. I've seen like every Jason Statham movie. Just throw them at me.
That's like 10 out of 10 on the Matt.
I read real quick because you got me on the topic of Jason Statham. It's your fault. I read that one of his upcoming movies is. You ever read the book called Meg? M-E-G.
No.
All right.
Never heard of it.
It's a book about somehow or another they find a megalodon shark. Right? You know what a megalodon shark is? It's that ancient.
It's a dinosaur.
It's that prehistoric shark that's like 50 feet long. It's the scariest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. The teeth.
So
of
it's a Jaws on steroids.
The teeth of it is 25 and 3 tons of it. That's from Jaws because he was 25 feet and about 3 tons. That's my best Robert Shaw.
That's your Robert Shaw?
Yeah. But the teeth of a megalodon like the size of your hand, basically. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, so I don't know. I didn't read the book, but basically the main character fights the shark, and the main character they're making a movie, and the main character is gonna be Jason Statham. Matthew, Jason Statham is gonna punch a shark.
Of course he is,
and I am jacked for it.
Oh boy! Speaking of actors, let's play a little game.
Let's do it.
Let's test your knowledge of actors.
Jason Statham.
We're Jason Statham all the way.
All the way.
We're gonna do the who's more famous.
Who's more famous? Okay.
So the first one we're gonna start with Hugh Jackman or Christian Bale. Who is more famous?
I almost have to say. See, this is so hard. I told you this before. It's so hard because I like both of them. They're great. Mm-hmm. But I think objectively, if there is such a thing for when picking an actor, I think you have to say Hugh Jackman's more famous.
He is. And on a list of 100 actors, he comes up 58.
58.
Yeah, so he's right there in the middle.
Like how are they rating this? Like,
I don't know what they're doing.
Like box office gross? Or?
I don't know.
Because Christian Bale's Batman movies made a crap ton of money.
So next one is Anne Hathaway or Angelina Jolie.
Anne Hathaway, all the way.
Hathaway.
I don't like anything about Angelina Jolie.
She came up 84 on the list of 100.
I feel like she was good like a long time ago, but it probably wasn't that long ago because I can't tell how old she is because I mean she has like 8 kids, but she didn't give birth to any of them or like how old is Angelina Jolie? She looks, I feel like 10 years different than what she actually is. Whether good or bad, I don't know.
This next one, I don't even know why this is on the list.
Heard Brad Pitt getting divorced, I guess.
Adam Sandler.
Oh, no, he lost already.
Or Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin, man. He's like the famous... People are still talking about Charlie Chaplin to this day.
Listen, he had a great... I forget which one it was, but he actually played a Nazi in one of his movies.
Yeah, it's like his famous movie or whatever.
Yeah, and he played Hitler, and he gave this crazy speech. It's all in German. It was a great movie for its time. Great movie for its time.
He was with Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah.
Adam Sandler has had 2 good movies in his entire life, and they were both at the beginning of his career, and he's been downhill ever since.
Well, unfortunately, the people who made this list, Adam Sandler won.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Adam Sandler is so bad, he can't even get a movie out anymore. He's doing stuff on Netflix now.
Right.
That's how bad he is. Charlie, did you hear the thing about Charlie Chaplin entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and came in 3rd?
No, I did not.
I don't know where that joke came from or if it's true, but I heard it. And
all
now
right.
You have to.
Kevin Spacey,
okay,
who apparently can do an awesome plethora of impressions.
He is a great impressionist.
Or Anthony Hopkins.
Well, like I like Kevin Spacey. Again, I like them both, but I think Anthony Hopkins is more
I would
famous.
have to say Anthony Hopkins.
I think Silence of the Lambs alone makes him more.
So let's see if...
Have you ever seen that movie? I've never seen Silence of the Lambs. Is it good? I hear it's great, but I've never seen it.
I don't know if we want to say that out loud. Maybe there's people who would literally... I mean, Brad Cornett would be calling us right now.
Oh, no, we're going to call his wife later, too.
There we go.
Supreme leader.
Anthony Hopkins. He is the one. He's the one. So next one, Sylvester Stallone. Rocky, who apparently AMC had that on last night.
When don't they have a Rocky?
Or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, man.
Isn't that a great pair?
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. Yeah, you cut me, man.
You know what's funny about Arnold Schwarzenegger? I'm going to tell you something really funny, right? So he's got that thick Austrian accent.
Of course.
He's lived in America for so long.
And it's getting worse.
This is the funny part, though. He's lived in America for so long. You know how when you move to a different country, a different region, you slowly adapt or adopt their accent?
Right.
He's actually lost a lot of his Austrian accent. He hires somebody to teach him to keep it because it's so linked to his character that he actually hires somebody to help him keep his Austrian accent. He's actually lost it naturally himself because he's lived in America for so long.
That is crazy.
I think that's hilarious.
Well, who do you think is more famous?
I don't know. I want to say it's got to be Arnold. I mean, come on.
It is Sylvester Stallone.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they're both famous for what they do. It's just... Did I tell you the time I saw this picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was in the Austrian army? He was standing next to a tank. It's the smallest looking tank I've ever seen in my entire life. That dude is... I mean, this was when he was really young
just
still.
Ripped.
This is when he was really young still. That dude is massive.
All right, so now we got the Ryan versus Ryan. Ryan Gosling or Ryan Reynolds? Who is more famous?
I feel like I have to say Ryan Gosling because I just talked about 2 of his movies. But I love Deadpool, though, which was really funny.
Oh, that was a great movie.
Perfect. See, you know me, man. I'm a comic book nerd. So, like, any comic book movie I think is the greatest thing ever. Except for a few that we won't mention. But
it's Ryan Gosling.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a good story about Ryan Gosling. Did
You
you know I used to work at this sign company. We used to make neon.
Yeah, you're the sign guy. That's right.
And Ryan Gosling had a movie that he was producing in Detroit called it was Lost River or let's see here. It was Lost River.
Lost River.
Anyways, he's in Detroit, and he called my boss, or not him personally, but their studio called and said we need some neon for this shoot. So we made a bunch of neon, and it was me and my boss that had to go drop it off. Now we thought we were just going to go to the movie site and drop it off, install it maybe, and then walk away.
Okay.
So no, we have to wait on set. So we get there, we have all this breakable neon. They confiscate our cell phones because obviously they don't want people recording or taking whatever during a movie site. And it wasn't even called Lost River at the time. It was some like
they always have like a
Zephyr or something.
They always have like a cover
that.
name for it. Like Return of the Jedi was like Blue Harvest or whatever. That's the famous one.
So we get there, and they just told us to wait in the tent where they like all have lunch.
Right.
And they're like, well, it's going to be a few minutes. Would you guys like to have lunch? They had like lunch catered. So I'm like, sure, yeah, we'll sit here and have lunch. So
it's free lunch. Is there better two words in the English language?
Right. So there's about 10 people in this tent, and there's a food line.
Okay.
And so me and my boss are up there. We're getting plate, and around the corner comes Ryan Gosling.
Are you going to tell me you had lunch with Ryan Gosling?
Yes. So he comes around the corner.
I just hate your face so much right now.
He comes around the corner, and he's not like he doesn't have an entourage. He doesn't have someone who's fixing his plate. He just walks up. Hey, how's it going? Grabs his plate and gets behind it. It's not like he's the man. He's the director. He made sure everyone who was around him got in the line first.
Right.
Then he ate, and then guess where he sits? Right across from me. So he's sitting next to my boss. He's asking questions about the neon and how it was all, that's pretty cool. And then he goes, hey, so what's your story? I'm like, well, I'm Matt.
Ryan Gosling looked at you and said, what's your story?
What's your story?
He could have said anything. You could have led him on some trail that he never would have known. You could have been like you were adopted when you were 3 years old by drug dealers and then sent on this long chase across the... You could have came up with anything, but you said, hi, I'm Matt.
I said, well, I'm Matt. That's what I said. And he goes, okay, so but do you like, how long have you been doing this job? So I started talking about that, and he asked me if I was married.
Right.
And I said, yes. And I know at this particular moment in time, Becky's ears must have been ringing. Becky's my wife, for those who are listening, don't know who that is.
Right, the Baxter.
The Baxter. Her ears must have had been ringing because we had a 20-minute conversation about my wife and what college she's going to, and when she's going for college, and what he wanted to do, and his dreams, aspirations, and what my wife's dreams, aspirations are. I mean, it was a good conversation. Then we get done eating, we get up, he leaves, we go to install neon, we go home. So here's the interesting kicker. Here's the cool part.
All right, lay it on me. Sag it to me.
The funny part, I should say.
All right.
So the day before, I told my wife, hey, we're going to go to this, we realized that we're making some neon for a movie set for Ryan Gosling's movie coming up. And she's like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And I said, yeah, I might have an opportunity to go meet him. And she's like, do you think I could come? And I'm like, well, I suppose you can come up for lunch. Maybe you can come with me and drop it off. So then on a side note, we were trying to figure out a time to go to Cedar Point.
Okay.
And I told her, I got time off, and I said, take Friday off. I sent her a text message, take Friday off.
Take Friday off.
She thought, take Friday off, we're going to have lunch with Ryan Gosling. Not take Friday off, we're going to Cedar Point. So she's going up and down the aisles at her work. I'm going to have lunch with Ryan Gosling. I'm going to have lunch with Ryan Gosling. No. And then when I told her that day that I had lunch with Ryan, the color had drained from her face.
Did you still take her to Cedar Point?
I took her to Cedar Point.
She was the most disappointed person in Cedar Point probably since some guy found out he was too fat to ride something. I mean, she was. It was probably you just killed her a little bit.
It was not. I mean, it was not.
Cedar Point, lunch with Ryan Gosling. Cedar Point, lunch with Ryan Gosling.
It was.
I mean, we live pretty close to Cedar Point. We're like what, an hour or so from Cedar Point?
An hour and a half.
Yeah. And Ryan Gosling comes to within driving distance of us. What? Once? Never.
Well, not anymore. Now that they completely.
I mean, we established earlier that there's no sunshine in Michigan. So why would you come here?
Well, if he came to Michigan, maybe we'd have some sunshine.
So basically, he was a really nice guy, is what you're saying.
He was just down to earth, a really nice guy. He acted like he was like, if I didn't know who he was, he would have just been a crew hand to me.
Right. What's funny is you said it's so funny because we all do this. I do this too, right? People will tell these stories about how they meet these famous celebrities, right? And they're all like, "Oh, they were so nice, and they were just this nicest person, yeah, whatever." It's like, oh, so they acted like everybody else does, or everybody else should.
Yeah, right.
It's like we make this big deal when a celebrity acts super nice.
Now listen, I've met one other celebrity, well, a couple of celebrities, but the other.
Did you have lunch with them too?
No. I've what's his name? And that's I just block his. He was the Wedding Crashers.
Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson.
Yes. So I have met.
Which one?
I have met Vince Vaughn.
You did?
Yes.
Really?
For about 15 or 20 seconds, and at those 15 or 20 seconds, I realized I hate this guy.
Why? What did he do? Tell me.
He's just a pompous jerk.
Yeah, he kind of comes off that way.
I saw him talking. It was another movie set we had to do some signage for. I saw him just talking to his crew like they were just dirt. And I thought, well, maybe they're filming or something. But no, this guy, he just, you know how you can get that vibe?
Right.
I met him. It was like not a shred of, had no clue if I cared it to exist or not.
Is that why we do this? Is that why whenever a celebrity is nice, we make a big deal about it? Because so many aren't?
Listen, I had lunch with Ryan Gosling.
You did. You keep
reminding me
of this.
And he took my plate up to the trash for me.
Wow.
You know, because he's
not even regular people do that.
There you go.
Some do, but I would always take your plate to the trash.
You're always going to take my plate to the trash?
Always.
Okay. So the whole reason why we're doing this Matt and Pat show is because we go to the same church, Crossway Community Church.
What?
And every time we have a get-together or function, me and you end up sitting next to each other.
Usually, yes.
And there seems to be some weird crowd that gathers around and listens to what we say, and apparently they think what we talk about is gold.
I think it's because you smell nice, but...
Well...
Whatever.
I did shower today. That doesn't mean I showered this week. I just showered today.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
I'm working and achieving and making myself... I get a gold star.
You do.
I do. So we decided last year around this time that we'd just make the Matt and Pat show, and we definitely kicked the idea around for a year.
We did.
There
was unforeseen things that happened, yada, whatever.
But we had no serious shred of actually doing it until about... Well, people then came up and said, when's it going to actually happen?
Right.
I'm tired of hearing about it.
Right.
And we realized apparently this isn't a joke that can continue going.
Right. I mean, basically, it's just doing what we always do, which is talk about random stuff, but just recording it.
Yeah.
And then allowing people to listen to it.
Yeah. We're going to allow people to listen to it. We probably won't have anyone listen to it.
That's not vain, is it?
Isn't there a song about that?
I am so vain.
You might think this song is about you. All right. That will be our closing song anyways.
Oh, boy.
So the whole point is that we're both really, I'm interacting with our teens at our church.
Correct.
I've worked at a Christian radio station called Yes FM. I've started a Christian magazine called Why Now News.
You're basically the celeb of this celebrity pair.
No, there is no celeb. And Patrick is the nuts and bolts of Crossway Community Church.
Stop it.
Listen, out of the two of us, you're the only one that stood up and gave a testimony or a actual sermon from the pulpit. Man.
I did.
And
I
you
look forward
rocked
to doing another one. It was very
nice. You will, man. So, we both agree that as much as we do have some witty banter and some talking to talk about, we actually have a message to talk about.
We do, because it's a great opportunity that we are able to do this. We feel blessed, and therefore we should take advantage of that.
And give it back.
And give some back.
So you have something prepared for us.
Yes. You asked me. You said, Patrick.
Pastor Patrick, actually.
Stop it. Pastor Kathy alone. Supreme leader.
Yes.
We are not worthy of Pastor Kathy.
No,
see, that rhymes.
We're not worthy.
She alone has that title. Anyways, you asked me to prepare something for because teens are your passion, and I see that in you. And it's a great thing. Because
we would hope that some teens listen to us.
Well, we would hope that you would give this and make the teens at Crosswalk listen to this like part of their curriculum or something.
I would just force them to.
Sure.
I'm going to just duct tape them to a chair, give them these headphones, say, listen to this now.
Sure. Make it part of your Wednesday nights or something. But the teens and the youth of any church is important because so many of them, when they leave the church, they leave the home, they leave the church and they're gone forever. And I feel it's around 75%. Actually, it's very sad. And I feel it's important that the reason that teens do this, I believe, is because they don't know why they believe what they believe. They don't know why they go to church. They don't know why they're a Christian if they are one. They just go because mom and dad say you have to go to church, or they go because it's a social club because their friends go there for whatever reason. And that's not bad. I mean, you're getting them there in the environment. That's good. But when you leave, especially if you leave to go off to college, you realize that there are a lot of different worldviews out there about life in general. And it's not just your little church group anymore. And I feel that a lot of teens are woefully unprepared in the real world to defend what they believe. When Scripture calls us to do that, 1 Peter 3:15, always be prepared to have a defense for the hope that is in you, for anyone who asks for the hope that is in you, but do this with gentleness and respect. Here's your little factoid for that. The defense, the Greek word for that, is apologia, and that's where we get Christian apologetics from that word, apologetic, apologia. It's the Greek word for it. So Scripture commands us to do this. Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, and we neglect that last one a lot, and specifically a lot for teens. And like I said, when they go out into the world, they're confronted with all these other worldviews, and they don't know why they believe what they believe. People ask them, why are you a Christian? And they have no answer. So if I asked you, Matt, why are you a Christian, what would you say?
Why am I a Christian?
Why are you a Christian?
That's a very tough question there.
It is, isn't it? It's tougher than you think.
I could tell you why I'm a Christian, but I don't know. I can't give. Someone took me to church. I started coming to church,
and that's my point.
And that's what most people say, right?
That's my point. When you ask most people, why are you a Christian, they tell you how they became a Christian.
Yeah.
They say, well, I met these really nice people. I went to this really nice place. We sang a bunch of songs. We repeated a bunch of lines, yada, 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 whatever. And from the outside looking in, what does that sound like? It sounds like brainwashing. It kind of does. And that's really bad because it shouldn't be like that. But the point is, most people, when you ask, why are you a Christian, they say the same thing. They give you the answer of how they became a Christian, which is good, but that's not the question I asked. I asked, why are you a Christian? For example, if you asked me, Pat, why are you a Christian? I would tell you, Matt, I am a Christian because I believe it's true. And in the end, that is what matters. If Christianity is true, regardless of experience, regardless of how you feel about it,
sure,
that is all that matters. Because in the end, it's going to be true. You have to come to terms with that. And I feel that so much time is focused on how God makes you feel and how you feel about Him that we lose sight of the rational side of Christianity, if you will. Now, I know that that's a very specific taste. The cold, hard, rational truth of Christianity is what saved me. That's what got me to be with God. Because I grew up, I grew up in church my whole life, but it was never really I went because I knew you were supposed to. It wasn't a choice. Right. I went because I knew you were supposed to, and I also went out of fear. I went because I knew if I didn't, God, I'd go to hell or something like that, basically. Yeah. Which is wrong. I mean, it's bad information. My wife introduced me to Christian apologetics. I got saved because of it. And I feel it's neglected, unfortunately, by a lot of churches, and not not to point fingers or anything, but it's just something that you start talking about rational, cohering logic and evidence for faith and stuff like that, and people get caught up in the blind faith thing. Biblical faith is not blind faith. Blind faith is dangerous. Okay, it's the worst type of faith you could have, and the reason for that is because you don't have any answer for why you believe what you believe. You just say, well, because the Bible says so. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Maybe 50 years ago it did, but the Bible does not have the cultural weight it did 50 years ago. So, I mean, we talked about millennials earlier.
Right.
I said, I think I throw the word relativism, and that's the aura of the culture we live in now, where what's true for you is true for me.
Right.
Or, I mean, what's true for you is true for you, and what's true for me is just
two different things.
Right. And people don't realize that's a contradiction. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because you're claiming an absolute and a relative worldview. If people say, well, all truth is relative, is that relative? You just said all truth is relative. If that's relative, then it's not always true. If it's not relative, then you're postulating an absolute into a relative worldview. Do you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I do.
This is just a little bit of what I'm talking about here.
It gets people thinking.
It does, and that's what I'm afraid of. Is that so many Christians are afraid to think. They're afraid to use their minds. They feel like they're not supposed to. Like if you think about your faith and why you believe what you believe, that you're not having enough faith, and that's not it at all. For me specifically, it strengthens my faith to know that it's evidentially true, regardless of how I feel. Strengthens my faith. So basically, what I wanted to challenge any teen that is listening, anybody that is listening, I would challenge you to just know why you believe what you believe. Whether you're a Christian or not, it doesn't matter. I respect anybody who has, if your worldview is different than mine, it doesn't matter. I still respect you. Just be coherent in your worldview and know why what you believe, know why. That's all I ask. And that's mainly what I wanted to say. Just kind of like a little introduction basically into what I feel is important for teens to do, because like I said, the youth, I mean, that's the future of your church.
Right.
And
if they can't sit back and say, I'm a Christian because
right
versus I'm a Christian because someone brought me to the church.
right. It's
two
different.
big different things.
Right. It's all about people need to understand that Christianity is true. If Christianity is true, I believe it is. You believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's good evidence for it. If it's true regardless of how
Not
you
only
feel.
biblical evidence, but worldly, scientific
Right.
evidence too.
Extra biblical evidence. Evidence that supports the Bible being true.
Right.
But basically, people get caught up with the fact that like people who are angry at God yet still acknowledge His existence. Well, it's like you realize He's still there even if you're angry at Him. Like Christianity being true is independent of your feelings. It's not about how you feel. Like if you are a Christian, God deserves your worship, whether you're angry at Him or not. It's just a fact. That's the thing. And that objective truth, I think, is a lot of times is lost in the world we live in, with it's all about how do you feel and this and that and stuff like that. So my biggest thing is for anyone listening, just think about why are you what you are.
Right.
Whatever worldview you are, why do you believe that? If you don't know, well, look into it. You might find that maybe it's not as coherent as you thought it was. I would challenge you to think that if you're not a Christian, give the Christian worldview a chance, and you may end up liking it, because I believe it's the best set of answers for life's the 4 questions of life. And any worldview that doesn't answer those, origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. Origin, how did we get here? Meaning, why are we here? Morality, how do we know the difference between good and evil? And destiny, what happens to us when we die? If a worldview doesn't answer those 4 questions, I don't really feel like it's worth your time.
Right.
And I feel like Christianity is the best answer for those 4 questions. So basically, that's what I would say is just know why you believe what you believe, and if you don't, look into it. You're allowed to investigate your faith. That's what I want to say.
And one of the things I'm going to tell you right now, if you're listening and if you want to ask us a question, because this will be on YouTube and the comments will be open and stuff for you to banter back and forth with us. The whole point is that our mouths are not bakeries. We're not going to sugarcoat anything.
No, man. No way.
It just is what it is, because that's how we are, and that's the whole point why we're doing this, is because no one says we can't.
It's America.
So now it's a time in our show
Okay.
to call our Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader.
All right, let's see if we can't get our Supreme Leader on the phone.
We should hopefully she answers, because I think your wife's getting mad at you.
Yeah.
The Baxter.
Yeah. We have dinner coming up.
Oh boy, it's ringing. It's ringing. Oh, she's just pulling out the broccoli. We got time.
Yeah, we got time. I don't think she's probably wondering why I'm calling from a house phone.
Kathy, this is your conscience speaking.
Answer the phone, Kathy. All right, I'm gonna text her.
Hello, this is Kathy Cornett, and you have reached my
message you
voicemail.
over.
Oh, bummer. All right, you're going to want to answer that phone.
I believe you were saying, what were you saying about if somebody could, if they had a question?
Yeah, if you have a question or you have a comment, or you just want to say, hey, this really sucked,
please say that.
Please. Go on to our comments section at our face or a YouTube channel, and we'll put something up on Facebook.
If you have questions, though, do it.
Yeah, we'd love to chat with you.
Yeah.
Because we want to start a segment called Teen Questions.
Right.
Where you can submit a question to us, and this is the challenge I have for you. If you're listening and you have a question that you think we can answer, we'll answer it. We'll try it, our best. And if you answer like, "Hey, can you tell me how a black hole works?"
We will take a stab at it.
We will pretend that we know, and we'll be so good at it. No, we don't sugarcoat anything.
We'll do what everyone else does. We'll Google it and then tell you what Google says.
Let's call Kathy Cornett one more time.
Call Supreme Leader Kathy.
And that way, if the second phone call, she's gonna go, maybe I should answer this. If not, we'll call Brad.
Oh boy.
Where's your Supreme Leader at, Brad?
Oh.
Hello?
Is this Kathy Cornett?
Is this Supreme Leader Kathy Cornett?
The one and only.
Oh, the one and only. See, only Supreme Leader would answer like that.
That's right.
We're calling you from Matt's basement.
You are live, Supreme Leader.
Well, you're not live on anything, but we'll
edit it so it's live. Every bad director's best friend is a good editor.
There you go.
That's right.
This is the Matt and Pat Show.
I've been waiting for this moment.
How long have you been? See, this is the whole reason there's the Matt and Pat Show, because of Pastor Kathy Cornett has told us to do it, or she will hurt us.
And when Pastor Kathy Cornett, Supreme Leader, orders you to do something,
we do it.
You don't second guess it or anything.
No.
You do it.
These are all bull-faced lies.
There's a saying, out there that if you don't do what Pastor Kathy Cornett, Supreme Leader, tells you to do, it's curtains.
It's curtains.
Curtains.
So how long have you been waiting for this, Miss Kathy?
Months. How long have you guys been saying that you're going to be doing this?
Since March of 2016.
There you go.
Every good thing takes a lot of development and thought and effort.
And we did none of that.
That sounds accurate.
So you're going to promise me that, unfortunately, we're at 27 minutes so far. You're going to listen to this entire podcast?
Will I listen to the entire podcast?
Yes.
Of course I will.
We have to, because when I look at our YouTube counter and it shows one view, I'll know that's Kathy.
Yes, Supreme Leader Kathy Cornett. Listen,
I'm
you are
your biggest fan.
We are your biggest fans, Supreme Leader. And we are towards the end of our show, so we need you to leave us with a...
Wait. She is our Supreme Leader.
She is our Supreme Leader.
A stranger from the outside.
Well, first of all, you have my title.
Your title's incorrect?
My title.
She's the queen.
She's a queen.
I'm so sorry about that. Not to be confused with the band, but she is the queen.
Right. That's true.
So let me just prepare. The queen's on the phone.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. So Queen, Pastor, Kathy
Supreme
Cornett,
Leader.
Supreme Leader. We need you to send us off with one of your famous life virtue sayings of just something that you say that makes us all
Because we
feel
know
better.
you mold young minds. So
We are hopeless without you, and we simply cannot continue to live the life we're supposed to live without your advice, and we need it desperately. Us and the 5 people who will end up listening to this.
Well, since it's your first podcast, I'm going to give you 2.
Oh, Supreme Leader. I mean, Queen, Kathy, stop. That's so generous of you.
very generous.
It's my gift to both of you because there's 2 of you.
All right.
There is 2 of us. Maybe. You don't know that. Maybe we merged into one Matt and Pat.
Maybe.
We're Matrick.
I like that.
Lay it on us, Supreme Leader.
The first one is you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
I've heard this one before.
I am just, mine is blown.
I know. It's T-shirt time.
It's, yes. Supreme Leader says you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
Mm-hmm.
It's not both.
right.
It's either or. She's absolute here.
That's right.
Exactly.
Trademark pending, by the way.
Oh.
And
Call our lawyer, quick.
And the second one is that make sure you always wash your hands and say your prayers because germs and Jesus are everywhere.
Germs and Jesus are everywhere.
That's right. That is Kathy Cornett. She is taking names and kicking butt for Jesus.
Supreme Leader Kathy Cornett, thank you so much for that, just that supreme knowledge.
We can't even go on. We have to end the show now.
We do. I just wanted to thank you, Supreme Leader. I hope that we have earned favor in your eyes by calling you out.
From the outside.
You have. Now, I am guaranteed I am the first caller and first guest. Is that correct?
Yes, this is the first.
We are
Okay.
currently working on your statue to commemorate this day. We're waiting for the bald eagle feathers.
Yes.
We have already begun construction with bits of panda bear.
And we glue it together
Very
with children's tears.
Children's tears, exactly.
Also, I prefer platinum instead of gold.
Oh,
Platinum.
platinum.
So write that. Where's the lawyer? Call him.
Yes.
Write that down.
Itchy and Twitchy is on the phone. Get Itchy and Twitchy. Tell him that she likes platinum, not gold. And we might want to increase our credit line.
Well, as always,
Yeah.
Supreme Leader, this has been wonderful. We thank you, and we look forward to calling you again.
Will you
Me
let us
too.
call you again?
Will you please let us call you again?
You are allowed to call me again.
Fantastic.
The show is now going to survive.
Yes. This is the only reason why people are going to listen is because we're going to have put in big bold letters with special guests, Supreme Leader Kathy Cornett.
Kathy Cornett. So
I hate to let you guys down, but you are not going to have a very big following if that's the case.
the only reason we're going to have a following is because that's going to be our headline.
Right,
Supreme
exactly.
Leader Kathy Cornett.
Right.
All right. Well, we will let you go. Thank you for answering the phone.
Please
All right. Thanks for having me.
Please
All right.
say hello to your husband for me. I'm his biggest fan.
Will do.
After you, of course, Supreme Leader.
Yes.
Right. Definitely.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, Miss Kathy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Well, on that note,
All right, buddy. We can't really.
we can't go any
compete with
further.
Supreme Leader Kathy Cornett.
No, we're just going to have to end it now. And you know why? because I made you a fantastic dinner.
You did. What did you make me? Tell
Beef
everybody what you made.
medallions.
Beef medallions. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds delicious.
That was cooked in a sous vide.
I don't know what that is either.
They can Google it.
I don't know anything about cooking. You know everything about cooking. I just want you to know that.
Becky made mashed potatoes.
I know what those are. Those are good.
Yeah, they are potatoes that has been cooked and mashed.
Is that why they're called mashed
Yes,
potatoes?
yes. And it's actually in Britain they call it a mash of potato.
Some mash,
And we have some broccoli.
and some okay. Well, we can make do with broccoli.
Yeah, Ron Swanson would not be happy.
He would not be happy.
All right. On that note, this is the Matt and Pat Show. Thank you for listening.
Till next time, fellow Matt
Please
and Patters.
listen. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Adios.